Hey everyone, to stick with us versus herd. If it's your first time here, like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications for when we post videos, tap the bell. If you haven't yet joined our options trading live channel, I go live 30 minutes before market open, Monday through Friday. Link is below in the description. And if you want to join the UVH fam, our community, link is below in the description as well to our Discord and our options trading group on Facebook. If you made money today, comment below got paid. If you lost money today, comment learned a lesson. And if you could do me a favor, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Now, if you followed me from last night, I did some rolls and my SPY play turned out perfectly. My SPY roll, if you guys remember, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, go back, watch it so you can kind of get the continuation of the story here. Today I did close up around $1,400 on the day, and a lot of it had to do with this SPY roll. I lost $300 on the 259 put that was expiring today, and I rolled into the 261 put, which I made $847 profit. So I'm net about $550 on this trade. So it worked out pretty nice to play some defense and get back into that. You know, I'm going to be talking about in this video here some of my trades that I'm going into tomorrow and what I'm thinking of where the market is right now. And the market, you know, the market is down today on some bad data. Initially, we kind of came down. Mortgage applications plummeted 24% today. You know, as it says, like here now Wall Street's scared that we're going to be shut down longer than what we intended to be, or what they thought we were going to be. But you know, I don't know how this wasn't priced in already. Why do they think that we're just going to go back to work in a week or two? I don't understand. I know in Illinois here, we have our shelter in place was extended to April 30th. It was supposed to end April 8th. We're now here till April 30th. So, you know, I think everything's being pushed back, and now Trump is getting a little bit more serious about the coronavirus, and you know, it doesn't look like we're opening at Easter anyways, and you know, it was kind of crazy. Also, on top of that, what kind of took the cake today was, you know, China hiding coronavirus outbreak from U.S. intelligence. And they're saying the Chinese government deliberately underreported the total number of corona cases and deaths in the country, which we kind of knew about, but you know, it wasn't really confirmed. It doesn't really say who confirmed it. Those individuals aren't willing to come forward on record and say. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on right now. So just be mindful that there's a lot going on with China and the coronavirus numbers, and people are saying they're not correct, and U.S. intelligence is saying they're not correct, and you know, so I don't know what kind of pressure that's going to be on China and in the U.S., but just let you know, it is something that is ongoing. It says the secret report concludes that China's numbers are fake. Two of the officials said Bloomberg reported. The White House received the report last week, according to the news outlet. So, you know, hard to say what's happening in there. Going into tomorrow, we also have the weekly jobless claims. You know, last week's we're at 3.3 million. We're expecting like 3 to 4 million this week, and we have the trade deficit and factory orders. So I don't feel like the reports are going to be good. So I am holding short overnight. And what I'm looking at here, let me pull up SPY first. I don't have a SPY position, but in my opinion, a lot of people, especially in the UVH fan, I don't want to point anyone out here, but you know, I've been disagreeing with them on, and I've been talking about it on the videos here, how I've been thinking that how this is gonna go down. You know, a lot of people thought we were gonna have a V-shaped recovery here. I thought we were gonna have, you know, like we had back in February, we dropped, we bounced, and then we dropped, and then we bounced, and then I think we're gonna drop. And I think this was the next leg up until we get more of next leg up. Until we get to revisit these lows here. So yes, it's going to bounce back up. People were value buying. People were thinking that's a good deal. People think we're going to go to all-time highs. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of different assumptions. A lot of people that aren't investing are starting to invest or trying to build portfolios because they think that we dropped a lot and it's going to recover rather quickly. You know, whatever your basis is, I'm just looking at the chart right now. In my opinion, you know, you can rewind the tape, go back to the videos, has always been that we're going to bounce. We bounced here, we dropped, we bounced here, and I think we're going to drop a little bit further on SPY. And now this chart really confirms that the Bulls case is not possibly going to happen. Now this could consolidate here. I think best case scenario at like 240, SPY could consolidate and then maybe move back up. But with the coronavirus and the economies being shut down, I don't see how this is going to recover rather quickly. In my opinion, this is my opinion, not investment advice, but this is just the way that I see it, and this is how I've been trading. Yes, the Bulls have been taking my money the past few days, but I just got back all the money that I lost in the last like 5 trading days back in one day just from today. So it was definitely worth defending my bias here. And if it ripped back up to 270, 280 and I was wrong, I still have money in my account to ride the wave and play defense or go along with it and try to break up to like 280, 290 area. But in this case, for me, for SPY, I'm really looking at it to really come down to like the 230 area and see, 218, I don't know if it's going to get down there, but 230, I'm trying to see if what it does down here at the 230 area. Right now after hours we're at like 245. I am recording this video a little bit earlier tonight just so I can relax tonight and not have to make videos all night long. But going into tomorrow, I do have an Apple position. Now Apple have a little bit of cushion on here. I did try to trade this week's calls, and then that Bloomberg report came out, and I lost $74 on that. So I got out of my calls, and I went into Apple puts. I did put them on for next week expiration. So my delta, I'm quite a bit in the money, but my delta is relatively low right now just because it's next week expiration. So I have 247.50. At one point they were up like $300 when we were around like 239 area, but we closed at almost 241 on Apple. And Apple, pretty much the same case for SPY. It was following that, and then it just bottomed out here, just dropped after it topped out around 263 yesterday. And as you guys remember, yes, Apple did take my money yesterday, but we're gonna get it back. I do think that Apple's probably gonna revisit the lower 230s, relatively soon, and that's why I kind of have until next week. If the market is slow, I like to trade slow, give myself enough time, and see what it does. Costco, I've been trading fairly well. I do have the 290 put. I made $35 on a 287.50 call, but I'm back in the 290 puts. If you guys remember from yesterday, I also traded the 290 puts. These are for this week expiration, so it's a little bit risky. But on Costco, what I'm looking at is it just getting topped out here around the 290 area. So I went in the money puts. And I bought in the money puts, and because it's just been getting stopped out around 290, and it came down to 286. It closed at 286, came all the way down to like 285, 284 area. So I'm swinging that position as well, and I am in a couple Home Depot debit spreads. I didn't do anything with them today, so I'm pretty much just sitting on these. I'm in the money today on these 185 for April 9th, so I'm long the 185 put, short the 182.50 put. And with the mortgage and the reports coming out, with the mortgage reports and new housing reports, Home Depot's really just got smashed today. So I started layering in short yesterday, and then we had a huge gap down, hit 175, but we're at 177 after hours right now. It did close at 178. Pretty much maintained all day. It was coasted. It had a really nice recovery from 175 up to 182, but it just couldn't get above 182 today. So I've just been holding short. I'm looking at probably exiting that position tomorrow. I don't want to hold into next week, but I'm targeting probably the 165 area right now. And I do have the 170 puts and 165 puts for April 17th, which is another debit spread. So I'm going to hang on to that and see kind of what happens on this debit spread expiring next week. I'm up about $100 on it. It did cost me, I think, 93 cents or something like that, and it's worth $1 now. Or worth $1.90 now because I'm up $100. So I'm going to hold that. I did put on a new trade today. I talked about it on the live stream this morning. Netflix, I did short Netflix. I'm up 18%. I did a debit spread for May 15th. And the reason why I did that is because I don't believe Netflix deserves to be near all-time highs like this. It did drop up a little bit of money, but I do think it's going to be probably revisiting these lows. And earnings on Netflix are April 21st. So that's why I went into May. So earnings are in about 3 weeks on Netflix. That's why I went into May, and I went with a debit spread versus a credit spread, because if you look at the IV, actually these are up this morning. These were all like 50% and stuff like that. Now they're up a little bit. The week I'm in is at 66%, but these were relatively low, and you can see the weeks after 59%. This one's now at 66%. So as we get closer to earnings, I anticipate that IV will be expanding, and those options are going to be worth more. And I do think that after this, Netflix is going to be lower. Netflix has a lot of debt. They also rely on content, which they can't produce any content right now due to the coronavirus, because nobody wants to get together and work in that way. All the actors are pretty much just chilling at home. And so that's why I do think that, in my opinion, it's a very small trade. Netflix will be coming back down to the lows. So I am short. Right now, I have a debit spread. I'm at 320 and 315, so it's a $5 wide spread. And I am, if we look at today, I bought it for $1.08. So worst case, you're like, Nick, you're completely wrong. Worst case, I lose $100 and we call it a day. You know, we move on. But I think it's a good risk reward ratio and a nice trade to kind of layer in there over time. If it goes down a little bit, maybe I'll average down, kind of see what happens with it. But it's a fun trade to keep you interested in Netflix. And I haven't been trading Netflix during this whole thing. Netflix was one of my favorite stocks to trade before the whole coronavirus crash, and I wanted to be invested. I want to do something Netflix because it keeps it in my portfolio. It lets me get familiar with it again and see how it moves during this volatility. And you know, when you're trading stocks, each stock has its own personality. You want to be able to learn how that stock moves. And I'm not sure how Netflix is moving during this time. So what I often do is put on a credit spread or a debit spread. So it makes me watch to see what that stock is doing in terms of price action. So it really helps me out. It keeps me invested in the market. It keeps me interested in that stock. And it's a very low risk trade that will, it could pay out, about $400. So pretty nice. Cost me $1. Could pay out about $400. And I got 44 days for it to sit in my account and just kind of relax on that. SPG is another one. SPG, Simon Property Group. I am thinking it's going to be revisiting lows. I have been holding on to this debit spread. It is still down some money, even though we got some money back, because SPG has been fighting it. If you don't know what SPG is Simon Property Group. They own a lot of malls in the U.S., and right now all the malls are closed, and I'm just trying to see if it's going to break down here. I have a spread. I am long the 35 put and short the 30 put, and this is like another one of those scenarios like I was talking about. It keeps you interested in that stock, and I have 44 days on this, and I should have probably averaged down when it went back up to 70, but I didn't know what it was going to do because I never traded the stock before, so I just kind of held, and it cost me $1.40, so risk was pretty low, but I tried to average down the day. But of course, no one wanted to film me after it's kind of revisiting lows here. So it's right now at 47 low, 52-week lows at 43. So I'm looking for the 30 area on Simon, and we do have quite a bit of time on that, and we do have earnings. Pull this up here. We do have earnings on the stock on May 5th. So I'm in May 15th expiration. Earnings are May 5th, so we'll see if we get a little bit more volatility push those premiums up. Is why I went debit spread as well. So we're doing okay on that currently. I did sell TLT this morning. TLT, I didn't reload it. I took a $140 profit on TLT. I'm kind of seeing what happens here. It did revisit the 166 area. I wanted to see if it could revisit 165, but it just never did. It popped up to 168, and I sold it this morning for a $140 profit, but then it sold off, and now it's bouncing back up, obviously. But I thought, I was like, hey, if we can get back down to 165, I would really like to reload TLT. If we're looking at the 1-year chart, I would like for 165 to become some sort of support before it gets to its next push to 175 is really what I'm looking for right now on TLT. That hasn't happened yet. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be a green day and I'll lose some money, but On paper, I have quite a bit of cushion on most of these stocks. I have some good profit here, and also I took in some profits today. So I took profits on MES, took profits on SPY, took profits on TLT. So worst case scenario, like I've been saying, I'm only risking about 1 day's worth of profits. So if I go, the worst thing happens, I go max loss tomorrow, I risk 1 day's worth of profits, and we start again. It's okay. You mess up, you make bad calls, but right now I do think the charts are in the bear's favor, which is why I'm holding like this. So that's what I'm looking for into tomorrow. It's gonna be a pretty active week in terms of reports. So if you watch this video to the end, comment, watch to the end. Do me a favor if you haven't yet, hit the like button. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.